Harold Reynolds. What's up, HR?
Rich, what's happening, buddy? How you doing?
I'm better for talking to you. How about that Nationals team? What is happening right here, do you think?
Tell you what, they started 1931. Everybody knows that. Played terrible, but the pitching kept them together. And I remember about July or August when they started playing great ball. I was like, this is the only team that can beat the Dodgers because they're built like an old school team. They've got pitching that goes deep. And that's what we're seeing right now. They put the ball in play last night off Garrett Cole. They didn't give him a lot of strikeouts. They made him work. Came up with some big hits. They're very talented. And the pitching is going to be tough. And right now, I'm telling you, the Astros might be looking at being down 0-2 after tonight with Strasburg throwing at them.
You really like the Nats to take it tonight too, huh, against Verlander?
Well, I know Verlander's been throwing the ball off and on with different spurts because he's been used differently. He'll be on great rest. I think he'll be really dynamite. But Steven Strasburg right now is the best pitcher in baseball the last 3 weeks. You can look at Garrett Cole, scuffled against the Yankees a little bit, got through it. Last night got hit. Strasburg has just been nails. The fastball, the changeup, the combination there. He's been the best pitcher right now, I think, in the last 2 weeks I've watched baseball.
So, wow, Harold. I mean, where did this come from? I mean, obviously, you can't usually put your finger on momentum; it's so intangible. But walk me through why this is happening. You think with the Nationals?
Well, at the beginning of the year, they had a lot of injuries. When Trey Turner went down, he hurt his finger bunting, missed about 5 weeks with an injury, but he played through a lot of it with a broken finger. But he's back. He's one of the top leadoff guys. I love their lineup. Adam Eaton scraps. He's hitting in the 2 spot. Soto, we watched last night. I've been saying this for a couple of years. I think he's the best hitter in baseball. And then you look at Rendon had an MVP type of year, but it's been Zimmerman and Howie Kendrick who have just extended this lineup. And before you know it, they got on a roll, and things just fell together for them. And we've seen it happen with clubs. Can't really explain it, but it's just fallen that way, and they've taken off.
So I'm going to ask you a yes or no question that's somewhat unfair, but it's a sports talk radio show, so I'm allowed to do this sort of thing, Harold.
All right.
Do you think the Nationals would be in this position if Bryce Harper was on it as a $300 million contracted player?
Hard to say. I would say no, and not a knock on Bryce. I think it's how their team changed. If Bryce is playing, you don't get Howie Kendrick on the field. You don't see Eaton come up and scrap the way he does. They're a different ball club. I think a lot of times what happens when you have a star player on your team like that, you build your lineup and your style around him. And they weren't near the aggressive club they are right now without Bryce. So they start playing a different style of baseball, and they're a lot more aggressive. So that sense, no, because they play a different style.
Harold Reynolds here on the Rich Eisen Show. Is it fair to criticize George Springer for Carlton Fisking his way out of the box, try and, I guess, use some body language to get it out of the yard, and that he wasn't on third, he was on second. If he was on third, he could have scored on the subsequent sac fly that wasn't really a sac fly with Altuve. Where do you stand on that subject from the 8th inning last night in a game that otherwise was amazing for Springer?
Yeah, I still think he's got to be at third base. I know he watched the ball, and he said there was a guy at second that was tagging up, and the whole play's messed up in my mind then because he shouldn't be tagging, he should be halfway. It was one out, but Springer I think's got to be at third base. That's just my opinion. It's funny. I was walking with my brother Larry today. We were going for a long walk here in Houston, and we were talking about it. And I said, Larry, the difference is 20 years ago, 15 years ago, our generation was when a ball's hitting the corner in the gap, you're thinking 3. These guys today are thinking home run and double. That's just how they play. That's their habit. We had a different habit. So it's hard to criticize Springer for the style of play that they have. I mean, he's a guy that's going to hit 40 home runs. I didn't play that way. And most guys in our generation, we didn't have the power. We didn't have 6,000 home runs in a season from all Major League Baseball. It's just a different mindset. So hard to criticize him. I think he should have been at third base. No doubt about it in my mind. But It's a different generation, a different time.
What would be your career lead in your all-time best in exit velocity from your career, Harold? Like the hardest home run you ever hit. What do you think you would top that exit velocity from your career?
I would hope maybe 100. No, probably 100. I mean, that would probably be maximum. These guys, that's just on basic data. You're probably going to hit a ball. If you hit a home run, hit a ball 400, 350, 80 feet or something like that, it's probably going to be anywhere from 90 to 100 mile an hour exit velocity. But the guys that are consistently in the 100, 115, 110 is pretty amazing.
So
I wasn't in that category.
I'm sure you Harold Reynolds, MLB Network, and we'll talk about Huddle in a second with you, Harold,
Okay.
and what's going on with you in that organization. But if you think that Strasburg has the leg up tonight or the arm up tonight, and the Nats are up 2-0, you like the Nats to win this World Series if I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Well, if
right
they
now.
leave here 2-0, you got to think they got a chance to win it. But Houston can turn this thing around in a heartbeat. They're one of the best teams that we've seen since MLB Network's been on. I think it's our 11th year, and I think it's the best club. The difference is, if you asked me that in July, they blow everybody away. Right now, they're not clicking on all cylinders. You know, Jordan Alvarez is not the rookie we all thought 3 weeks ago. They're not clicking. Their team's not hitting. And Bregman's not – he hasn't homered. He struck out 3 times last night. He's not swinging the bat. So this is not the same club that was hot in July that everybody was awed about. It's a different team right now.
What do you think of the signing of David Ross to be the new manager of the Chicago Cubs, Harold? I mean, what do you got for me over there?
Well, it comes no surprise. It was his job to lose, so to speak. I knew they were going through the interview process, and a couple guys woed Theo and made him think second maybe. But David was always his guy. And I think in the last year and a half, 2 years, where he's been broadcasting but also been around the organization, has really allowed him to spend time talking, seeing how he views the game. So he's been in the interview process, I think, in the last 2 years. It's not just been right now. But they zeroed in on him. He's going to be fine. He needs to get a bench coach or somebody to help him run the game a little bit. But David Ross got, 1,000 games behind home plate. He can manage the game. Great personality. They're going to love him in Chicago. And, I think it's the perfect guy for the times they're in.
And the times that they're in is what?
Well, Theo kept saying they're in a transitional time, if you ask me. I don't think this is the club that's running to the World Series that we said is going to take over. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Bryant. He's reportedly turned down $200 million already, and he's going to be a free agent here soon coming up. But they got some tough decisions to make. What are you going to do with Javi Baez? What are you going to do with Castellanos, who came in there and played real well? Their pitching staff's getting a little bit older. They were able to develop young position players, and some guys have not panned out. So I think they're in a transition, and I think David Ross is the guy that's going to take them to the next phase of this organization, whatever direction they go in.
All right, Harold, tell me about Huddle, the number one youth recruiting video platform in the country, HUDL. What is this?
Well, if you're a college football fan like I am, that's the number one recruiting platform for football, basketball, and soccer. And every college coach or anybody, basically you hear about recruiting, you Google HUDL after a kid's name and it pops up. So I was able to partner with Huddle and say we need to do this with baseball and softball and allow kids to build their own platform. It's a great way to be found, whether you're making that little league team or you want to go to college. It's an amazing platform to build. So if you go in, huddle.com/baseball or huddle.com/softball, and there will be a way to show you how to there's a tutorial shows you how to shoot your videos and how to upload them and how to build your platform. And I think it's a game changer for baseball.
Well, I heard a name in this conversation I hadn't heard in a long time, Larry Reynolds. How's your brother? I remember.
He's doing good, man.
I remember seeing him all the time.
They got a Stanford reunion coming up this weekend, I believe, out at Stanford for 40 years, and he's all fired up about that. But, no, he's doing well. His clients are playing good. He's got Jake Marisnick and Howie Kendrick in the World Series right now, so he's watching both those guys. But he's doing well. Doing real good.
The agent Larry Reynolds. I remember seeing him all the time when I was around you, and you were around, and I was around ESPN. So please send him my best to HR, okay?
I will.
You
And
got
I
it.
got one last thing before we go.
Go for
All
it.
right,
What do
so
you got?
you know I watch you every Sunday morning.
Okay.
You got to quit letting Michael win these things and putting that thing on and howling, man. You got to take over. And Marucci's been winning a lot, too. Where are you, Rich?
Well, HR, I am currently leading the picks contest. I did have 7 consecutive lone wolves that I nailed in the very early parts of the season.
Yes, you were hot early.
I was hot early, and I've just been pushing the wrong buttons, but I'm still one up. I think I'm still one up going into this week. But Mariucci hates wearing that wolf hat. He hates it. It's too damn bad. But who do you ask Harold the poll question? Well, ask Harold the poll question before we go out the door.
Yeah,
Go for it.
HR, who's got the best chance to knock off the Pats in the AFC? Chiefs, Colts, Ravens, and who's the last one? Well, I didn't have it up. I mean, I don't know why.
Bills.
You can make up.
Bills.
You can make up all kinds of names.
Yeah.
I don't think the Pats are getting beat. And now that Belichick is calling the defense again, forget about it.
That's a wrap.
It's a wrap, man.
HR, love that you're out there watching Game Day Morning. Thanks for the pop. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
it easy. That's Harold Reynolds right here on The Rich Eisen Show.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.